Right then guys, welcome back to the motorbike channel. I am just about to arrive at BMW Motorrad North Oxford because my wonderful F900 GS is getting its first service done. I didn't realise until buying a motorbike, and I'm not sure if it's all motorbikes or if it's just BMWs, but similar to BMW M cars, these bikes essentially need a run-in service anywhere between 450 miles and 700 miles. And if you look down there, I'm at 455 miles. Dropped the bike off with them. I'm actually taking out one of their demonstrators, an R12 GS, which I'm a bit excited about, and hopefully there is a video about that bike already on the channel. For those of you that are maybe local to BMW Motorrad North Oxford, it's definitely worth popping down and having a look. The guys and girls here are very friendly and they've got all sorts of bikes. I will join you back on this bike once it's had a service. We'll look at what that cost as well, because as I've talked about a few times on the channel, motorbikes aren't cheap and there are lots and lots of costs. Yeah, we'll have a breakdown of what the service cost, and then we'll take this out for a bit of a ride, and I'll talk about my 3-month and 455 mile ownership. Right then, run-in service completed. Total cost £230, which is essentially what I was quoted. It's a lot of money, especially when you look at it in comparison to the cost of the bike and compare it to, let's say, an M3 or an M5 running service. But it is essential and it needs to be done before the bike gets to 700 miles, as I said a bit earlier on. Talking of earlier on, well, the weather has changed massively, thankfully. I'm a little bit nervous about getting back on this bike because the R12 GS was so good that I could barely fault it, aside from the fact that, well, it didn't have a fuel gauge, and that is pretty much it, I think. It was just wonderful. I loved it, loved it, loved it. But getting back on this, okay, the actual seat, now I see why people complain about this seat. I don't find it uncomfortable, but maybe that's because I spent a lot of my life cycling, riding bikes, especially road bikes, for many, many years. And anyone that knows what a road bike, as in a cycling road bike, saddle looks like, a competition saddle, well, it's narrow, thin and very hard. So this, although it's not the most comfortable saddle in the world, it's a lot more comfortable than your average bike saddle. So that's maybe why I don't find this terrible. But it's still an absolute weapon of a bike. Wow. Oh, I love bikes. Absolutely love bikes. You can have so much fun on them at legal speeds compared to cars, in my opinion anyway. The thing is, there is no right and wrong bike these days. There seems to be so many great bikes, especially bikes that I've ridden recently, like the Ducati Street Fighter. Wonderful bit of kit, absolutely incredible. And then the Ducati Multistradas, again, brilliant. V2S, amazing. V4S, maybe slightly better, definitely more expensive. Then you've got the BMWs, all of them brilliant. Thankfully I have some limiting functions or features, and that is my lanky frame. I don't fit on a lot of motorbikes really comfortably. For example, BMW's R1290, I think that's what it's called. Very cool looking piece of kit. It was one of my favourites when I was looking at buying this bike, but then I sat on one in the showroom and it's just way too small. So my ideal bike needs to be comfortable and relatively big in the cockpit so that I can sit on it for hours and enjoy it and not feel too cramped. And that's my big problem on sports bikes. I think the fundamental difference between this bike and the R12 GS that I've just handed back, which I absolutely loved and thought handled extremely well, the big main difference between the two, apart from the layout and the engine, etc., is the R12, it feels like the weight is really down low, whereas on this, well, although it's relatively nimble, a lot of the weight feels like it's high up, and the bike is higher. I would say its centre of gravity is definitely higher, probably 4 or 5 inches higher, which does slow its ability down a little bit. You get used to it, but compared to the R12, it definitely feels a little bit more relaxed. But don't confuse that with it not handling well, because it does handle very, very well. What's interesting is, although I know I'm 4 or 5 horsepower down on this bike and 20 odd newton meters down in terms of torque, it definitely doesn't feel any slower compared to the R12, and the initial pickup is definitely more immediate, especially when you're in dynamic, which I tend to avoid now because I think the initial throttle pickup in road is much nicer and much smoother, especially sort of first, second gear stuff. But yeah, there's definitely, in my opinion, no difference in outright performance, although on paper the R12 looks like it should be quicker. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more powerful, and 20% more torque or whatever it is. But like I've said so many times since I've had this bike, and that first test ride I had, I never feel like it's lacking in power or torque. I think it's a perfect amount for the road. It can always get you out of trouble in any gear pretty much. You can accelerate out of junctions and slip roads faster than majority of cars and even sports cars. It never feels slow. Even now that I've ridden some seriously quick machinery like BMW's M1000R and Ducati's Street Fighter V4S, those two bikes are ridiculous. I mean, they are so fast. They are comparable to hypercars, and this is comparable to a very, very fast sports car. So never be put off by a motorbike because it only has 100 horsepower. 100 horsepower for the road is enough. For the track, yeah, it will soon become, or soon feel, slow, especially compared to other bikes that might be around you with 200 odd horsepower. This weather is perfect riding weather. 22 degrees with a light breeze. I'm feeling absolutely wonderful temperature wise. I've got my very recent RST vent jacket. I'm going to put it on the screen because I just completely forgotten what it's called, but it's wonderful. It normally has a liner in it which makes it warm enough to wear when the temperatures do drop in the evening or whatever. But when you take that liner out on a day like today, or even yesterday when I was putting those miles on this bike, it was 26, 27 degrees, it's just lovely because you get a certain amount of wind and air on your skin or on your base layer. As a biker, you need a lot of gear for all weather, all conditions. I need to get this bike abroad, really. I've been thinking about it a lot, looking at dates. This year is disappearing very quickly. We've got our wedding coming up the end of September, and although I wouldn't say It's massively time consuming my end because Lou has been doing so much of the legwork. It is a massive commitment. It's a lot of money. Wow, yeah, weddings are a lot of money. But don't get me wrong, I can't wait to marry Lou. I absolutely love her to bits. She's the best human being on the planet, and I'm very fortunate to have met her in my later life and to have spent the past 5.5 years with her. She's just been brilliant. We did have to think long and hard about how we were going to sort of do our wedding, you know, whether it was going to be a small little reception with very close friends and family, and then a big party afterwards, or have a bit more of a traditional wedding. I mean, neither of us are religious, but we're going down the more traditional route, and I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm super excited. My brother and his partner are coming over from Australia. You know, my cousins and auntie and uncle are coming over from France, and if there are younger people watching this video, you should never feel pressured into A, getting married, and B, putting on a really expensive wedding if you can't afford it. Because although it's really important and it's going to be hopefully a lifelong memorable day and one of the most special days of your life, if you're going to put yourself into massive debt to experience that single day and make a load of other people, friends and family, happy, then yeah, really think about it long and hard, because the world we live in today is very expensive and we're all watching our pounds and pennies. Wow, that's a big truck with a big machine on the back of it. Look at that. Whoa. Yeah. Nice indicator. Great. Brilliant in your Discovery Sport. Oh yes. I've got a Range Rover. Have you really? Yes, it's a Discovery Sport. Although, bragging about having a Range Rover, whether it's a genuine Range Rover or a Discovery Sport, is probably not a good thing. Look at the road. Watch the road. I have the right of way here, but this is always a tricky junction. Oh, I'm lucky. Nice. M140i pre-OPF. Broom, broom. Right, guys, I think this is a good time to sign off and say farewell or goodbye until the next video coming very soon. No idea what that will be, but thanks as always for watching my content, especially this bike content. The channel's going really well. I am thoroughly enjoying filming videos for this channel. Dare I say it, more so than the car channel at the moment. I just feel way more relaxed and chilled about the content on the bike channel than I do about the content on the car channel. I will see you at another video, hopefully very, very soon. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Take it easy. Cheers. Phew. Oh. Well, maybe that's not such a great idea.